ki, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta. More diagonal lines. So, here again, what I am very interested in is, what is this shoulder doing? What is the lagging shoulder doing when this hand is moving? Because this shoulder is what is allowing this part of the body to hold the pose. This is your moving, your axis that is moving. This is the centering part. This part holds everything together while this hand moved out. So if this hip rotates, or if the shoulder gives, then again you will find that the line length is compromised. So it's important to have the hip and the shoulder opened out. So let's see that movement one more time. Start with the hands. Anytime you have it in front of your body, start with the Tripatakam facing forward. Why do you do that? If you have it facing each other versus here, I want you to notice what's happening with my shoulders as I change that. Here I am open, here I am closed. Notice that my shoulders started rotating forward. Again, that closes me as a dancer. I want to be open. So the Tripatakam axis facing outwards will help you keep your shoulders open. So the movement is, do it with me girls, keep the shoulder blades back, keep the Tripatakam facing forward, 1, 2, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. A nice open position of the neck, the hands, everything holding back, this side supporting the movement. Let's move on to the next part. There is what I call a centering movement. Ta, dhit, ta, a very common movement that is used in dance, which is followed by a movement that moves the dancer to one side. Centering movement, side movement. So, in these kinds of quick successions, your centering movement becomes your anchor. If you run through it without completion, taditta, then what happens is that your follow-on movement loses its correct alignment. You probably are over-rotating or doing something with it that doesn't allow the registry of that follow-on movement. So use anchoring, centering movements, which are dime a dozen. There's so many centering beautiful movements in Nritta. So I would use these centering movements, practice them a lot so that your Natyarambam is perfectly etched. This Natyarambam is your bread and butter. It shows up in every form. It can show up on top of your head. It can show up at angles other than just in front of you. So you could be traversing through Natyarambams on top of your head, across, in all kinds of ways, with bends, without bends, with just twists. So any of those movements are only possible if your Natyarambam is etched perfectly in your mind-memory connection, and you can produce it anywhere. Any part of the space around you should be able to evoke a Natyarambam from you. So once you have the centering movement, you do the follow-on movement. Now notice in the follow-on movement, if I rotate my shoulder, then my movement is compromised. So this openness is very critical. Let's move on to the faster part. Takka, takkita, takka, takkita. 1, 2. Takka, takkita, takka, takkita. So in these kinds of movements, again where you're running through it, you're walking through the movement very quickly. Notice the hips which are anchoring the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. There should not be any shift in that. All the time facing forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Takka, takkita, takkita. Now, when the movement is extremely fast and you're not able to get a full spread of your legs, so it becomes more of a takka, takkita. As quick a movement as possible in that space. You want to have control in your hips at all times. And the hands can never deviate from where the shoulder line is. Even though it looks like there's a lot going on, I'm just drawing lines of my shoulder to the tip. That's it. That's the only line in my view. The next movement, the Chatushram. 1, 2. Ta, dim, mi, ta, dim, mi, ta, dim, mi. Now here is a movement which has to have the knee aligning out so that it doesn't drop forward like this. So make sure that your knee and hip are able to stay aligned in that 3 and the 9 positions, and the shoulder can be open without being pulled this way or that way. So you can get a nice open position. That is critical for this movement. Now, the space in this place, in this part of the body, is something that is created by having very open shoulders. What do I mean by that? When you hold a diagonal line, there is a space between the ears and the shoulders. If I were to, for instance, put my hand up in this position. Girls, can I have you put it up? Now, where is this elbow in relationship to the ear is one way of looking at it, but it is not the whole story. And I'll tell you why. If I were to turn, you will see that my elbow is at the level of my ears, right? It's pulled back. You can see my face. Now, the other thing is, where are my shoulders? That is the crux of this movement. The shoulders need to be externally rotated. You need to have enough strength in your shoulders to pull them down and have them support your movement so that you're not cheating, where the shoulders are internally rotated, but you're just pushing with the elbows. So net, you're carrying a lot of tension around the neck. And it's just making you look like you're coming out of a little pot, right? So how do you fix this? How do you get from there to that? Sthiram. How do you get there? There are a number of exercises that will allow you to learn to externally rotate your shoulders that I will present as a separate part. Sufficient to say that you need to work on that body part before takka dhimmi. This can open up. Takka dhimmi, takka dhimmi. So this line that you're seeing, that the hand is making, the neck is making, is only possible if your back supports you, and of course everything, the entire spine needs to support you. But that open shoulders is very critical. The next movement is the just so let's do the first part of the Chatushram followed by the second. 1, 2. So this is the way that I use the Tirmanam Adavu. For me, again, the centering is very important, and I turn back with reaching as high as I can. There, right there. That is my Tirmanam Adavu. There are many forms that this Adavu takes within the style of dance that you follow. This I find suits my body aesthetic the best, and so I relate to this way of doing the Tirmanam. There is no right way or wrong way to do Adavus. There is only an aesthetic way of delivering it that allows the viewer to participate more wholly in what you are trying to present. The last part of this first unit is a Taiha Taihi, and it goes again, power of a centering movement. This is just holding and centering. 1, 2. One more time. 1. Feet together. 2. So as you're delivering it at this speed, try and keep the feet together. Hold the power of this in the parts of your body, the back, the sides, the core, the pelvis tucked, and keep the hips centered, the knees aligned, and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that was the very first unit from Awakening. Let's review what we just learned. Anchor the supporting side when the movement takes you in the opposite direction. Mudras placed at the chest should incline forwards. If they face each other, the shoulder internally rotates. If they incline forward, the shoulders rotate externally. Centering movements are plenty in Bharatanatyam. These help follow-on side movements register better. Natyarambam is an example of a centering position. It has to be practiced with diligence and effort. Align the knee with the hip so the other parts of the body, like the arms, can extend fully. Activate back and shoulder muscles when the hands are raised above the shoulder level. In Tirmanam Adavus, there are many straight lines that can be created, as in this photograph. Join the inner circle with Savitha Sastry to watch more videos and episodes.